Welcome. Today, we're not just going to answer an exam question, we are going to crack it wide open. We're going to decode the official examiner's marking guide to figure out exactly what it takes to guarantee every single mark. So let's dive right in.
It's a question every student asks themselves. Is it just about getting the right number at the end? Or is there something more going on behind the scenes? Well, you're about to get an insider's look into the mind of the marker.
So, here it is, our challenge for today. We're getting our hands dirty with question 15 from a GCSE maths paper. It's a classic, a real classic, estimating the gradient from a curve.
Okay, so the question shows this distance time graph, and it asks us to work out an estimate for the gradient of the graph at t equals 3. Now hang on, two things should be screaming out at you here. The word estimate and the instruction, you must show how you get your answer. These are absolutely massive clues.
And this, right here, is where we find our secret weapon. See, the key to a perfect answer isn't just knowing the math. It's about knowing how that math is actually marked. So let's break down the official mark scheme for this exact question.
Right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The very first mark you can get on this 3-mark question, well, it isn't for a calculation at all. It's for doing something very specific on the graph paper itself.
And there it is, straight from the horse's mouth. The very first thing the examiner is told to look for is a tangent line. That M1 simply means it's worth 1 method mark. If you don't do this, you literally can't get any further.
So, just a quick refresher so we're all on the same page. What is a tangent? Well, it's a straight line that just kind of kisses the curve at one specific point, without actually crossing through it. The whole idea is that it has the same steepness as the curve at that one single point.
And here is what the examiner is looking for. See, you just find t equals 3 on the bottom axis, you go up to the curve, and then you carefully draw a straight line that just touches that point. This line needs to match the steepness of the curve right there.
And this just hammers the point home, doesn't it? This is a non-negotiable rule. I mean, you could magically guess the right answer, write it down, and you would still get 0 marks. No tangent, no marks. It's as simple and as brutal as that.
Okay, so you've drawn your tangent, you've secured that first precious method mark. Fantastic. Now let's see how we use that line to grab the next mark. So how do we find the gradient of our new straight line? It's a pretty simple process, actually. First, pick 2 points on your tangent that are nice and far apart, and ideally easy to read off the grid lines. Then, you figure out the vertical change between them. We call that the rise. Then the horizontal change. That's the run. And finally, you just divide the rise by the run. Looking at our example here, I've picked out 2 really convenient points. The first one is at time equals 2 seconds, where the distance is 20 meters. And the second one is at time equals 4 seconds, where the distance hits 70 meters. Choosing points that land nicely on the grid lines just makes the next part so much easier.
All right, let's do the math. The rise is the change in distance, right? So that's 70 minus 20, which gives us 50. The run is the change in time, so that's 4 minus 2, which gives us 2. Then, to get the gradient, we just do rise divided by the run. 50 divided by 2.
And that little bit of division leads us straight to our final answer. But wait, there's one more absolutely crucial detail hiding in that mark scheme that you really need to know. And there we have it, 25. And what is 25? Well, on a distance time graph, the gradient represents speed. So this is the speed at that exact moment, at 3 seconds.
Now here's the really clever part. Because drawing a tangent is an estimate, everyone's line is going to be a little bit different. And the mark scheme knows this, so it allows a range of acceptable answers. For this question, any answer from 22 all the way up to 28 would get you the final accuracy mark, as long as your working is correct. Our answer of 25 fits perfectly right in the middle of that range.
And this final quote from the mark scheme just says it all. You can write down 25, 26, any number you like in that accepted range, but if you haven't drawn that tangent and shown a valid calculation, you get nothing. 0. The working isn't just important, in this case the working is the answer.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Understanding the question is only half the battle. Understanding exactly how it's marked, well, that's the key to unlocking those top grades. It makes you wonder, what other hidden rules are waiting to be discovered in those mark schemes? Something to think about.